I own the biggest shop in the world, but I haven't had a single customer in 5 years. Yet every day, countless workers push buckets out, and when they return, they are holding a ton of silver. This is the biggest water house in the city, and I'm the boss. The money I make from selling water each month is up to 10,000 taels of silver. Awesome, but who would have thought that I, so rich, was a beggar 5 years ago? Back then, I was nearly starving to death. That's when the 9th prince, Zhao Feng, suddenly found me, wanting the ancestral jade pendant I carried, said to have a celestial connection. I knew I couldn't keep the treasure, so I proposed exchanging it for wealth and glory. Unexpectedly, Zhao Feng agreed, and I became his retainer. I thought I could live the high life with him, until one day, 5 years later, Zhao Feng suddenly asked me a strange question. If this prince wanted to return the jade pendant to you, I refused without hesitation. Then this subordinate should repay his highness's kindness. Just last year, I spent 3,000 taels of silver. This subordinate cannot possibly repay all that, even if I gave it my all. Ha ha ha, my retainer is quite the character. Spending 3,000 taels in a year. Zhao Feng's laughter eased my mind. I knew I had dodged a bullet today, so I flattered him. Your highness is truly virtuous. Seeing Zhao Feng nod, pleased, I chuckled inwardly. If it were someone else, they might truly fear and be grateful to him. But I, who had transmigrated here, ignored feudal etiquette. But one still has to eat, and I can't exactly turn the world upside down. Not now anyway. But what he said next made my heart skip a beat. This world has cultivators who can achieve immortality. This prince has contacted an immortal, and they originally wanted to meet you. I immediately pretended to be alarmed. This subordinate is just a mortal. How could I possibly be worthy of being noticed by an immortal? Your ancestors had a connection to the immortals, and that immortal was originally looking for you, but you already sold the jade pendant to me, correct? Zhao Feng's words were jarring. As a retainer, I had no choice, so I could only bow my head in agreement. Go to the treasury and receive 1,000 taels of silver. Zhao Feng's casual reward was enough for tens of thousands of disaster victims to eat for half a year. 3 days later, the prince's residence was decorated to welcome the immortal. Zhao Feng, dressed in gold, stood at the forefront, while I could only stand far away with a group of merchants. As I watched from afar, the clouds suddenly parted, revealing a beautiful Jade Flower Immortal descending slowly. The entire capital instantly fell silent, then erupted in cheers as countless people knelt. But strangely, whether intentionally or not, the Immortal suddenly turned towards my direction. Everyone around me instantly knelt down. I was the only one standing. The silhouette of the beautiful woman burned into my memory. Achieving immortality is such a beautiful thing. When I came back to my senses, the Jade Flower Immortal had already arrived in front of the prince's residence. Zhao Feng, wearing my jade pendant on his chest, bowed and said, Zhao Feng, the 9th son of the Zhao family, respectfully welcomes the immortal. Unexpectedly, the Jade Flower Immortal looked puzzled until she saw the jade pendant emitting spiritual light. Is the name changed? At the banquet in the prince's residence, even with the alluring dancers swaying silk veils, Zhao Feng stared directly at the Jade Flower Immortal, his heart burning hotter. But the Jade Flower Immortal suddenly pointed her finger and said, This jade pendant of yours? Zhao Feng immediately replied, This is an opportunity that this prince obtained 5 years ago, under the guidance of an expert. Unexpectedly, the Jade Flower Immortal said directly, Seizing another's opportunity is not a good deed. Zhao Feng immediately took out the jade brocade he had already prepared. 3 years ago, the elders of your sect handed over the right to change the fate to this junior. The Jade Flower Immortal picked up the jade brocade and looked. The aura was indeed from a sect elder, but the next second, she violently threw down the jade brocade. The karma set 3,000 years ago, and you think it can be changed in 3 years? Zhao Feng quickly explained. This junior did not seize it by force. The descendants of that GU family had already become beggars, and that's why the elders of the immortals gave the opportunity to this junior. Moreover, this junior has given the descendants of the GU family wealth and glory. Can wealth and glory compare to the opportunity to become an immortal? The Jade Flower Immortal's eyes seemed to pierce through people's hearts. She knew that the Great Qian Imperial family must have given internal benefits to the immortal sect to tacitly allow the deprivation of others' opportunities. How could the sect's 10,000-year rules be manipulated? So, she spoke, Call the descendants of the GU family here. I want to confirm it face to face. Zhao Feng summoned me. How could I, a house slave, dare to resist? Moreover, he believed that after training me for so long, he was sure that I wouldn't dare to say anything. Half an incense stick later, the Jade Flower Immortal looked at me, a mortal, conflicted over whether it was a good thing to seek justice for me. Although it was decided 3,000 years ago that the GU family descendants would be her protector, it was clear that I was no match for the powerful Zhao Feng, and the sect wouldn't support it. Did she have to prioritize the big picture? Thinking of this, the Jade Flower Immortal asked, 3,000 years ago, the GU family ancestors had a connection with my 3 pure sect. Would you like to hear about it? My eyes lit up. Please, Immortal, tell me, the Jade Flower Immortal gently said. If the GU family descendants are ambitious, they will be led onto the path of immortality. If not, they will be given a life of wealth and glory. At this time, Zhao Feng interjected. I have already spoken with him, and he willingly gave it to me. His Majesty the Taoist Emperor can testify. The last 4 words, Taoist Emperor, were emphasized heavily. The Jade Flower Immortal frowned slightly. She couldn't make the decision on such matters. She could only pick up the Jade Brocade again and mutter. The GU family descendants are not ambitious and have become beggars, selling their ancestors' karma. Their immortal opportunity should be taken away and given to the 9th son of the Zhao family. The 9th son of the Zhao family will gain the fruit, and should repay the cause. Zhao Feng laughed after hearing that. I will follow the decree, and I will submit a request to my father to seek a peerage for him. That's good. The Jade Flower Immortal thought I would gladly accept it, but unexpectedly, I was stunned in place. The light in my eyes shattered, but in the end, I could only whisper, I obey. A hungry person has no opportunity to resist. If I had to choose again, I would still sell the Jade Pendant. A person must first survive. As for the future, either I endure until death, or I seize the opportunity. Rising into the wind, the Jade Flower Immortal sighed inwardly. Why did she have to be the sinner for the sins of the sect elders? Out of guilt, she handed over a red pill. This is a life-protecting elixir given to me by the sect. Swallow it, and it can grant you a life of 100 years. Consider it compensation. But little did she know, this decision would entwine her and me together. At this moment, as I looked at the red pill, my brow throbbed slightly, as if, as long as I swallowed it, something extremely important would leave me. Was it the immortal opportunity? But what of it? Just like back then, I knew the Jade Pendant was important, but I still had to hand it over obediently. At this time, the Jade Flower Immortal spoke softly. I will not harm you. Your opportunity has been seized. If you don't take it, you may not live past 30. I clenched my fist slightly. So it turns out I was weak, and everything was because my opportunity had been blocked. Zhao Feng frowned, seeing my silence. Just as he was about to decide for me, I suddenly looked up. May I ask, Immortal, can I still cultivate without the immortal opportunity? The Jade Flower Immortal nodded. Of course. The immortal opportunity is destiny, while people have their own fate. The founder of my sect was a rebellious figure. He didn't need destiny to become an immortal. Zhao Feng sneered. How many founders are there? Then he said in a commanding tone, swallow it. This prince will give you a hereditary peerage. In the end, just like before, I had no choice but to swallow the red pill. At that moment, it felt as if a string had snapped in the dark. The Jade Flower Immortal returned to her seat, no longer hiding, and Zhao Feng was very happy, directly promising me a marquisate, with 10,000 households under my control. That night, the prince's residence held a grand banquet, while I, however, drank heavily, a pot of wine in hand, and came to the Dragon Bridge. The wind by the river sobered me up. I laughed self-deprecatingly. Being humble and obedient is my way of survival. But if one could resist, who would be willing to kneel? Just as I was laughing, pouring the wine into the water, my heart was suddenly impacted by some force, as if trying to break through the seal, so destiny could no longer cover that light. The next moment, a ray of light surged into my mind, and I awakened my destiny, Red Dust Immortal. As long as I gather 10,000 years of heavenly water and earth essence, I can ascend to immortality. Ha ha ha. I was like a person who had been thirsty for years, plunged my head into the river. To hell with wealth and glory, I'm going to become an immortal. The next day, I caught a cold, but fortunately, I was rich and had no shortage of money to hire a doctor. But no matter how rich I was still just a dog of the Zhao family. Thinking of this, I suddenly clenched my fist, a fiery idea flashing through my mind. If I didn't want to become meat on the chopping board, I had to grasp that ray of golden light in my mind. I didn't know what earth essence was yet, but the heavenly essence showed that it had accumulated for 10 years. It must be the elixir given by that immortal. 1 pill equals 10 years, and I needed 1,000 similar pills. But strangely, after finally getting the key to immortality, I decided to stay by Zhao Feng's side, and still chose to please him and the immortal, because I was just an ordinary person, with no power to obtain opportunities. But as long as this humility and obedience could give me something in return, everything was worth it. Little did I know that my reward would come soon. At this time, on the Dragon Bridge, a pair of armored soldiers were clearing the way. The front is the GU family residence, with annual expenses exceeding 10,000 taels, enjoying wealth and glory to the extreme. In the carriage, Zhao Feng emphasized my wealth and also emphasized the legitimacy of his opportunity. The Jade Flower Immortal did not respond. She didn't want too much exposure to the dark side of the sect, only seeking a clear conscience. First, self-funded my compensation, and second, ensured a wealthy life for the descendants of the GU family. When she entered the main hall, I was already waiting there. Although my face was pale, I was neither humble nor overbearing. I bowed. Greetings, Ninth Prince. Greetings, Jade Flower Immortal. My usual respect eased Zhao Feng's expression. It seemed that I harbored no resentment. The Jade Flower Immortal took the opportunity to speak. Today, I have come to see how you are living. I still lowered my head. The Immortal is too kind. I am filled with trepidation. The Jade Flower Immortal sensed my estrangement and defensiveness but was not surprised. After all, she had allowed my opportunity to be seized. Then she asked, how is the wealth and glory that the Zhao family has given you? I paused for a moment before answering, richer than a country. Very well, the Jade Flower Immortal said before leaving the main hall. Zhao Feng and the others followed closely behind, but just as I was seeing them off at the door, I suddenly noticed something was wrong. The guards that followed Zhao Feng into the residence did not leave but stood behind me. I immediately felt uneasy. I said, Your Highness, these guards of yours? Zhao Feng looked back and said with concern, the capital has been unstable recently. I have brought some royal guards for you. Unexpectedly, as soon as he finished speaking, the Jade Flower Immortal looked at me, sensing a trace of killing intent. It was the first time she had felt my emotion so intensely. At this moment, a cold glint flashed in my eyes as I lowered my head. Since transmigrating, I had experienced countless life and death crises. Caution was my principle, and safety was my top priority. Royal guards were like a butcher's knife hanging over my head. Zhao Feng had stepped on my red line. So I calmly refused. This one is just a merchant. According to the Taizu laws, I cannot have guards. Zhao Feng's eyes narrowed slightly. You will soon be a marquis. This is a compensation agreed upon by the Immortal Sect and the Zhao family. Are you disobeying a decree? The last sentence was not a question but a threat. To refuse again would be seen as rebellious. So, without hesitation, I bowed and said, Thank you, Your Majesty. I had endured until now, so it was no different to endure a little longer. Especially now that I have the red dust destiny, I should be even more cautious. Until the Zhao family was pushed into the abyss, Zhao Feng revealed a winner's smile. Using power to oppress others was so satisfying, while the Jade Flower Immortal shook her head secretly. This GU family descendant was too weak. But just as she was about to turn and leave, a gentle breeze suddenly brushed her ear. She had a supernatural power called Imperial Listening, which could hear people's hearts and see karma, but because the Great Qian Empire suppressed the heavenly way, she could only hear the most intense thoughts. The thoughts I was sending made her freeze in place. Heaven will impose a great task on you. So first, it must make you suffer mentally and physically. The Jade Flower Immortal turned back sharply, looking at me with seriousness for the first time. I was clearly just a mortal, but why did I have such courage and perseverance? Remembering that the world-honored one said that the great path was not exclusive to cultivators, and that even mortals could speak truth, perhaps I was the benefit of her training in the mortal world. Since she gained the benefit, she should repay the karma, so she stretched out her hand to me and said, Hold my hand. I will pass down a technique to you, to test the descendants of the GU family. I quickly thought, if she wanted to harm me, there was no need to beat around the bush, and then I cautiously reached out and held her fingertips. The Jade Flower Immortal saw my timidity and smiled, actively grasping my hand. The next second, a cold sensation was implanted into my brow, and countless scriptures instantly appeared in my mind. I felt dizzy and couldn't understand anything. When my vision recovered, the Jade Flower Immortal had already gone far away. I turned to look at the 10 guards behind me, suppressing the darkness in my heart, and smiled, asking people to bring silver. Brothers, today you are taking office in my goose residence, so naturally we should find a brothel to celebrate. That night, in a private room in the Dragon Bridge night market, the 10 guards were all passed out from drinking, being helped away by a group of girls. Only I was left alone, reviewing the situation. Zhao Feng was digging his own grave. I rarely got angry, but these 10 guards could threaten my life. Zhao Feng had underestimated me, and also overestimated the wine bags under his command. Then I closed my eyes, feeling the scriptures in my mind. Unexpectedly, my destiny suddenly vibrated, and the scriptures that I couldn't understand became simple, and the 10 years of heavenly essence began to be consumed. After a while, I entered the Jade Clear Heart method. However, I wasn't happy because only 1 year of heavenly essence remained. Just the entry level required 9 years. I didn't know where to get more. Forget it, let's cultivate quickly. The blade was already at my neck now. The situation in the Great Qian Empire was becoming more and more chaotic. This year, there had already been 3 major riots of disaster victims. Before the Great Qian Empire collapsed, I had to have the ability to protect myself in the chaos, so I closed my eyes again. Unexpectedly, as my destiny trembled, my cultivation didn't improve, but the speed of Qi refinement increased rapidly until I broke through the first stage of the Jade Clear Dao Foundation. The heavenly essence was exhausted. I didn't expect myself to go bankrupt in the blink of an eye. Without heavenly essence, the cultivation speed was too slow. I had to find a way to obtain it. At the same time, in the prince's residence, Zhao Feng was standing in front of the Jade Flower Immortal's courtyard, wanting to enter, but he was blocked by a donkey at the door. This donkey that followed the Jade Flower Immortal was no ordinary creature. Zhao Feng had to respectfully say, "Senior, the kitchen has made some pastries. This junior wants to offer them to the immortal." However, the donkey was burying its head in the grass, as if it didn't understand human words. Zhao Feng could only stay in place. The Jade Flower Immortal had been in the Great Qian Empire for several days, but Zhao Feng couldn't even see her face privately. Just a nod from the Jade Flower Immortal could make him overjoyed, becoming a complete simp. After the stalemate, Zhao Feng could only leave the pastries and leave unwillingly. The old donkey picked up the box and walked into the yard, saying in human words, "The junior of the Zhao family gave these to you." Who knew that the Jade Flower Immortal would shake her head? "I've already taken my fasting pill." The old donkey ate the pastries while saying, "Even if you reach the immortal ascension ground, you still have to eat like mortals in the celestial land. Moreover, that Zhao kid has good talent and background. Your Jade Clear Sect doesn't need to cut off all attachments." The Jade Flower Immortal looked at it slightly. Did Senior also accept benefits from the Zhao family? The old donkey grinned. "That Taoist emperor gave me a 1,000-year-old spirit herb." "I see. I thought Senior was senile and kicked yourself in the head." Hearing the Jade Flower Immortal's sarcasm, the old donkey paused, then didn't get angry, chuckled. "It's easy to get benefits. Only a fool would refuse. And to find an immortal's medicine, I still need to rely on the Zhao family." Finding an immortal's medicine was the sole purpose for the Jade Flower Immortal to enter the celestial ascension ground, and it concerned the 1,000-year-old plan of the Three Pure Sect. Then the old donkey suddenly asked, "Why did you pass the core technique of the Three Pure Sect to that kid? Could it be that you took a liking to him?" The Jade Flower Immortal said calmly, "The Three Pure Sect owes him. You're inflexible, just like your master. Also, the Jade Clear Heart method is the most difficult technique of the Three Pure Sect. He will never learn it in his lifetime." Listening to the old donkey's complaints, the Jade Flower Immortal hesitated. "Then I'll go again tomorrow, and give him an ordinary technique." "You're doing more harm than good by going there like this. That GU family descendant is just a house slave. Luckily, the kid is smart. He tried to stay far away from you that day." The old donkey was speechless. The Jade Flower Immortal could only humbly ask, "How should I contact the GU family descendant?" The old donkey looked at her sincere attitude, and suddenly became playful. "You should break into his residence at night and give him the technique. That way, it won't cause him any trouble." The Jade Flower Immortal nodded. "That way the Zhao family won't know." So after she thanked him, she leapt up and instantly merged into the night. But she would never have thought that the old donkey, watching her back, would burst into laughter. An immortal sneaking around with a mortal late at night. How interesting, how interesting. A moment later, when the Jade Flower Immortal arrived at my residence, she encountered her biggest problem. She didn't know which room I lived in. Due to the special nature of the Celestial Ascension ground, many of her methods were difficult to use. Until dawn, she still couldn't find me, so she had to return to her courtyard. At this time, Zhao Feng was holding a box of breakfast, standing outside the courtyard. This one requests to see the Jade Flower Immortal. The old donkey yawned and continued to eat grass, not letting anyone in. As the guardian beast of the Three Pure Sect, if anyone dared to touch the Jade Flower Immortal, even that Taoist emperor would be destroyed. The Jade Flower Immortal carried the destiny of reviving an immortal, and that immortal was very likely to become the only true immortal in the world. I didn't know about Zhao Feng's awkward situation. At this moment, I was riding horses with my guards through the streets. Only after riding to my door did I dismount. The guards were already panting, but I, who had always been weak, was not red in the face or out of breath at all. It turned out that breaking through to the first stage, refining essence and chi, brought a huge increase in strength. But I still followed suit and panted a few times. The guard captain said admiringly, "Even though Lord Gu is a merchant, he is also a man. I'm nothing compared to the general. From now on, the safety of the residents will depend on you all." My calling him General made the captain very proud. In less than a day, these guards were extremely polite to me, turning a blind eye to their surveillance. After all, my silver had nearly knocked them out. Then, I entered the residence alone, asking my confidant, Jiang Fugui, to bring the prince's residence's account books from over the years. But what he didn't know was, I wasn't checking the accounts, but searching for the way to obtain heavenly essence. Since the Zhao family had been in contact with the Immortal Sect for a long time, Zhao Feng had no reason not to cultivate. Cultivation required pills, and buying pills must involve taking silver through the water house. As the account books were quickly flipped through, my movements suddenly paused, and a smile appeared on my lips. On the 3rd of March, the prince's residence eunuch, Feng Xiong, took 2,000 taels of silver to purchase Lintron medicinal fruit. It was said that this medicinal fruit could prolong life, and was sought after by many nobles. So much so that it was listed as tribute by the court. Fugue, go buy some Lintron medicinal fruit. This is tribute. It may not be easy to obtain. Jiang Fugue was a bit embarrassed. The legal way to obtain tribute was only through one way, the emperor's reward. The good stuff was all taken by him. The Zhao family had finished it. I cursed inwardly. The Great Qian was doomed. And then I said, if we can't find it legally, then find it illegally. Then, using the excuse of continuing to celebrate for the guards, I went to the brothel again. This time, I didn't need to entertain them. The guards were already familiar with the place and went to different rooms. After waiting for an unknown amount of time, Jiang Fugue pushed open the door, holding a box, and placed it on the table with a distressed face. My goodness, this stuff is too expensive. Just these few medicinal fruits, and they dared to charge me 100 taels of silver. I picked up a medicinal fruit and asked, how did you buy it? He took a sip of tea, then replied, the large pharmacies all sell them privately, but there are not many. If you want more, you have to go to the biggest slave trader of the Great Qian, Old Poison Granny. I picked up a medicinal fruit and put it in my mouth. The next second, the destiny in my body suddenly trembled, and the heavenly essence increased. Although it wasn't much, I was excited. As I expected, cultivation wasn't a distant dream. The nobles of the Great Qian had already come into contact with it. Then I swallowed the remaining 9 medicinal fruits, but the heavenly essence still didn't increase. 1 year was definitely not enough. Fugue, go find Old Poison Granny again. Give me 5,000 taels of medicinal fruit for now. But after all, it's reselling tribute, so be discreet. I thought that Jiang Fugue would be able to complete the transaction smoothly, but unexpectedly, Old Poison Granny suddenly raised the price, and after some bargaining, it was set at 18 taels per gram. Jiang Fugue paid the 2,000 taels of silver notes with heartache, and left with 100 medicinal fruits. This was the deposit for both parties, and the remaining balance would have to be paid upon delivery. But what was unexpected was that, shortly after Old Poison Granny sent Jiang Fugue away, she returned to the door of her house, holding a bowl of medicine, and gently knocked 3 times. Young master, your medicine is ready. After a long pause, a gloomy voice said, what is that person buying so many medicinal fruits for? This old servant does not know. Perhaps another person who has entered the world. The young master said disdainfully, a person who needs so much medicinal help is obviously of poor aptitude, not even half as good as me. Unexpectedly, after hearing this, the old servant was suddenly excited. Young master, have you succeeded? At most 3 months, at least 1 month. I am now halfway to the foundation stage. The voice behind the door had an air of pride. It turned out that even though the Celestial Ascension ground had restrictions from the heavenly way, it could still improve a person's aptitude. As long as one could forge the Supreme Tao Foundation, they would have a chance to ascend to immortality. Congratulations, young master. The old servant excitedly knelt down. Now that the Celestial Ascension ground had been open for 5 years, her young master had already completed half of the foundation stage. What a peerless genius! On the other side, Jiang Fugue had also returned to the brothel, angrily talking about the price hike. Money is not a problem, as long as we can buy it. I grabbed a handful of medicinal fruits and shoved them into my mouth. That one grab was worth several hundred taels, the kind of wealth an ordinary person would never earn in their lifetime. When the last medicinal fruit entered my mouth, the heavenly essence increased to 2 years. 5,000 taels spent, but it was only a fifth of the Jade Flower Immortal's pill. This was not just expensive, it was costing my life. Hopefully the second stage of the technique will bring greater power. Then, I sat cross-legged to cultivate. The heavenly essence poured out. If I didn't use the heavenly essence to cultivate, it would take me 10 years to reach the second stage. And the first realm of this technique had 9 stages. It was too difficult to cultivate. At the same time, somewhere else, the Jade Flower Immortal was standing on the roof again. She was sure that my room was below, but I wasn't there. Where did I go? When the sun rose, my heavenly essence was exhausted, but my Jade Clear Tao Foundation broke through to the second stage. I originally had 10,000 taels of savings, paid out 2,000, leaving 8,000 taels, and when I opened my eyes, I suddenly felt a bit different under my body, looked down, and thought it was worth the money spent. The function of this body had no problems, but it was in a semi-damaged state, while the second stage of Jade Clear refines the 5 organs, making up for this defect. At this time, in the prince's residence, the Jade Flower Immortal climbed back over the wall again. After 2 nights of work, she was only sure of one thing: I didn't live at home at night. Just when she was about to go back to her room in frustration, an annoying voice suddenly came from behind her. Jade Flower Immortal. Zhao Feng saw the back view and immediately waved excitedly. After 3 whole days, he had finally seen the Jade Flower Immortal. However, the Jade Flower Immortal only felt annoyed, and was about to continue walking towards her room. Zhao Feng suddenly shouted, "This prince has come to talk about serious matters with you, regarding the water vein. I have already asked Gu, the manager, to wait at the residence." Yu Hua stopped and asked why Gu, the steward, had been summoned. She thought her evening activities had been exposed. Unexpectedly, Zhao Feng replied that Steward Gu was the head steward of the water room in the mansion, and also the person who knew the water veins of the capital best. If the fairy was not pleased, he could go and change him. No need. Yu Hua nodded slightly, just a slight movement. It made Zhao Feng beam with joy. As long as he could win the fairy's favor, his father would directly appoint him as the crown prince, and even abdicate early. This was what the Daoist emperor had told him clearly. Now he was becoming more and more obsessive. Not long after, in the main hall of the palace, just as the old man and others were waiting, Yu Hua's stunning figure suddenly appeared at the corner. I raised my head, and our eyes met, and both of us paused. But in the next second, my heart suddenly thumped, wondering if my second level of cultivation had been exposed. So I immediately lowered my head and used the method in the Jade Clarity Heart technique to conceal the Dao Foundation in my body. Sure enough, when Yu Hua used her listening ability, she discovered that I seemed to have erected a high wall of mental thoughts. My resistance and evasion made Yu Hua somewhat depressed. When had she ever been treated like this? She couldn't blame me for anything. At least, she had to give me a simple cultivation technique to settle her mind. "Greetings, Ninth Prince, Fairy Yu Hua." My respectful bow interrupted her. Zhao Feng also followed and directly blocked us, saying condescendingly, "I heard you've been spending your time in brothels lately. You should restrain yourself and find a good woman." He was trying to highlight my worthlessness in front of Yu Hua, but I didn't care. Anyway, going to the brothels was just an act for them. The more worthless I seemed in their eyes, the safer I would be. So I bowed my head. "Your Highness's teachings are correct." But as soon as I finished speaking, Yu Hua cast a profound gaze at me, instantly making my back go cold. Then she broke through my facade with a single sentence: "Cultivating the body and nurturing life, not losing your primordial yarn." Now it was her turn to feel resentful. She had been exposed to the wind on the eaves all night, but I was sleeping in a brothel. But since my primordial yarn hadn't been lost, what was I doing there? She subconsciously used her listening ability but didn't hear my thoughts. Instead, she heard the agitation coming from Zhao Feng beside her. "The fortunate women have given birth to sons, and the fortunate men are for pleasure." In an instant, Yu Hua felt an overwhelming disgust. She knew that the common people's love of men was prevalent, and it was truly unbearable. I vaguely sensed that the atmosphere was not right, so I quickly cupped my hands and bowed. "The noble young masters have been waiting for a long time. Your Highness and Fairy, why don't you take your seats first to avoid exhaustion?" Zhao Feng was very satisfied with my humility, regaining his superior aura, but then he turned to fawn over Yu Hua. "Fairy Yu Hua, please, let's talk." However, Yu Hua did not respond. She just kept looking at me, but felt an even stronger wall of belief, which made her even more depressed. But she could only hold her nose and accept it, and when she walked into the hall and sat down, I had already hidden in the crowd, completely blending into the background. This descendant of the Gu family was truly like a loach. Zhao Feng exchanged a few pleasantries and was about to introduce the noble young masters, but was directly interrupted by Yu Hua. "I only need to know about the water veins." Zhao Feng coughed awkwardly and asked me to step forward and answer the fairy's questions. Yu Hua looked at me and said, "How many wells are there in the city?" I explained in detail. "There are a total of 1,600 wells. Most are bitter water wells. The well water needs to settle overnight before it can be drunk. There are 200 clear water wells, which can be drunk directly, and less than 80 sweet water wells, which are sweet and favored by the royal family and nobles. Take me to see the sweet water wells, the best in the city." But before she could get up, I continued, "The best well water has already been sent by my men. It was just drawn from the mansion this morning." Unexpectedly, Yu Hua shook her head and revealed a piece of information that I was very interested in. "Well water that has been drawn for more than an hour will have its spiritual energy dissipate, and its true nature will not be apparent. Is the sweet water well a spring?" I suppressed my doubts and replied, "For water within an hour. I also have my men send it every half hour." Yu Hua was completely speechless. The descendants of the Gu family were reliable and efficient, much better than Zhao Feng, whose brain was kicked by a donkey. Her previous depression also dissipated. She nodded gently, and stopped talking. Seeing this, Zhao Feng, as the head of the family, also felt honored. He rewarded me with 500 taels for my meritorious service, hoping to win a smile from the beauty. Even spending a fortune is worth it. Thank you, Your Highness. I accepted the delivered banknotes, calculating in my mind. 500 taels can buy more than 20 pills, which is about half a year's worth of celestial marrow. My current savings are 8,500 taels, equal to 8.5 celestial marrow. I still need 1.5 more to break through to the 3rd level. I hope the 3rd level can give me some self-protection ability. I breathed slightly, exhaling the excitement in my heart, and cupped my hands. This humble servant will go see if the well water has been delivered yet. Zhao Feng waved his hand. Go ahead. From now on, don't refer to yourself as humble servant. You are about to be made a marquis of the Great Qian Empire. As soon as these words were spoken, the gazes of the people around me changed a little. Zhao Feng was intentionally promoting me. I immediately showed a look of surprise and thanked him again before leaving. However, what I didn't expect was that, as soon as I turned and stepped out of the hall, all the surprise on my face completely disappeared, and a hint of disdain appeared in my eyes. No one noticed my change, only Yuhua noticed it, making her feel more and more that I was special. Then I arrived at the gate of the palace, scooped up a spoonful of well water, and put it in my mouth. My fate did not react, but the true energy in my body became active. This might be the spiritual energy. No wonder the rich and powerful are so eager for sweet water wells. But the celestial marrow is not spiritual energy, so it's not very useful for me. Then I returned with a bowl of well water. Seeing this, Yuhua just lightly touched the surface of the water and used a wisp of spiritual energy to stir the water in the bowl. After a long while of pondering, she finally asked, "Where is this well located?" "The Dragon Spring Well in the Dragon Bridge Water Room," I replied. The best wells must naturally be controlled by the palace. The Dragon Spring Well should be the head of the capital's water veins. You must take good care of it. Any abnormalities must be reported to me. Yes. I retreated to my seat, taking on the role of a background character from now on. It's just at this time, people around me started talking to me. They were already fawning over me before I was even made a marquis. This is the endless allure of illusory power. In the evening, I arrived at the Dragon Spring Well. At the moment when the sun completely set, the well water suddenly became agitated. Countless fish poured out. This was an anomaly that had appeared in the last year. I immediately focused my true energy on my eyes. The scene in front of me stunned me directly. The well water actually shimmered with 7 colors. I quickly drew a bucket of water and found that the color was only a thin layer floating on the surface of the water. The workers around me looked normal, obviously not seeing it. Then I took a small sip with a spoon. The next second, something unexpected happened. My fate resonated, and this time, it increased the earth essence. Although the quantity was small, at least I knew. I quickly took 2 more sips. The 7-colored substance disappeared, and the well completely returned to calm. And the earth essence was still a third of a unit short. If I can drink it every day, I can get 20 units a month. The celestial marrow's function is to increase comprehension, but the earth essence is related to the immortal source. But other than the family heirloom Jade pendant, where can I find the immortal source? I didn't think too much about it. There was still the most important thing at hand. Half an hour later, Jiang Fugue delivered the second batch of medicine fruits, 100 in total, worth 2 years of celestial marrow. After deducting 2,000, my savings were 6,500 taels. Then I sent away the rotating guards and returned to my room to meditate and cultivate. But unexpectedly, Yuhua also floated into the courtyard. As soon as she approached the house, she immediately sensed something was wrong. The immortal realm had heavenly Dao constraints. To cultivate, one must have a Dao foundation. But the aura of spiritual energy being drawn in came from inside, indicating that I had cultivated the most difficult Jade Clarity Dao foundation of the 3 Clarities Sect. I, a person who had been deprived of my immortal destiny, could endure the constraints of the heavenly Dao and still cultivate. My talent and perseverance must be top-notch. Thinking of this, Yuhua couldn't help but sigh. She, this senior member of the sect, was truly disgraceful. Yuhua decided to offer guidance once more, so she reached out and gently knocked on the door, but for some reason, there was no response from inside for a long time, and the fluctuation of spiritual energy disappeared. Yuhua was about to knock again when she suddenly had a bad feeling. When she forcefully pushed the door open, the scene before her stunned her directly. Yuhua only saw the figure of me jumping out of the window. Her forehead was throbbing with anger. This guy was truly a reincarnation of a loach. At this moment, I was running at full speed, following the escape route I had rehearsed countless times. Although I was not sure whether the person who came was a friend or foe, coming alone at night meant that their intentions were likely malicious. Just when I was congratulating myself on my speed, a crisp sound of water dripping suddenly echoed in my ears. Immediately afterward, I found myself frozen in place and unable to move. Why are you running? Can I eat you? Yu Hua's gentle voice came from above. I shamelessly bowed to Yu Hua. Fairy. Yu Hua's lips curled upward. When you were running just now, you didn't look like you wanted to bow. I kept my head lowered and explained. This humble Gu has been in business for many years and has faced countless assassinations. If I am not careful, I might have become bones long ago. Suddenly, my tone changed. I wonder what brings the fairy to visit my humble abode at night. I've come to impart a simpler method of qi refining. Take my hand. It only takes a moment. Yu Hua said as she reached out to me. At this point, I had confirmed that she must have seen that I was hiding my cultivation. Although I knew she was testing me, I directly admitted that I had cultivated the Jade Clarity Heart technique. Since I couldn't hide it, I would take the offensive. After all, the cultivation technique was given by Yu Hua. To what extent have you understood it? Yu Hua's calm tone became a bit more urgent. The Jade Clarity Dao Foundation was a core secret technique of the Three Clarities sect, but few people had cultivated it over the past thousands of years. This humble servant only feels a burst of qi in my dantian. I asked the fairy to explain it. I replied vaguely, intending to make her think that I had some talent. Unexpectedly, she was silent for a good dozen or so breaths before finally uttering two words. Entry. She hadn't expected that I had actually cultivated it, looking at me with complex emotions. No one has cultivated the Jade Clarity Dao technique in thousands of years. You are the only one. This means you can enter the Three Clarities sect. I can recommend you to be an elder once you enter. She sighed in her heart. From ability to character, I pleased her, and now my talent was far better than the Zhao family's prince. The most difficult thing to accept was that I was supposed to be her protector. This humble Gu will consider it carefully. But please, fairy, keep it a secret for me. I didn't commit myself to anything. Since I couldn't hide it, I might as well advance by retreating, showcasing my talent so she would see my value. Yu Hua nodded. The sect doesn't reject outsiders from learning the Three Clarities Dao techniques. When you've thought it over, come find me, and I will arrange for you to lead the Great Qian. She said and waved her sleeve, preparing to leave. The fairy is leaving so quickly. This humble servant hasn't been able to properly entertain you. I made a token attempt to retain her. Who knew that Yu Hua would likely chuckle and interrupt? If you truly wanted to entertain me, you wouldn't be so guarded at every turn. Cultivation is like sailing against the current. It's impossible to be perfect in everything. This humble however, she interrupted me again. There are 36 methods of becoming immortal in this world, and the Jade Clarity Heart technique is the best. You, who are the only one in the world who has cultivated it, are calling yourself this humble. Yu Hua couldn't help but feel disgusted. It was a feeling of jealousy, but strangely, I was not annoyed by being interrupted twice. Instead, I became more composed and said, having a humble background is not a disgrace. Being able to adapt to circumstances is the hallmark of a great man. This humble Gu was born into a humble family. The phrase, this humble, is a necessary word for my survival. Hearing these words, Yu Hua stood still. All her thoughts instantly dissipated. She lowered her head slightly and said, yes, I misspoke. Then, she turned and hurried away. However, as soon as she took 2 steps, a surge of spiritual energy suddenly came from behind her. She turned back in disbelief, only to realize that I was not at the entry stage, but at the first level of the celestial realm. I extended a finger, revealing my first level of cultivation. Yu Hua was right. It was impossible to be perfect in everything. If I wanted to grow strong, I had to embrace the sunlight, so I smiled and said, this humble Gu has cultivated the first level of the Jade Clarity Heart technique in 4 days, which can be considered the highest level in the world. I dare not say that I have reached the second level, because it is too astonishing. Unexpectedly, Yu Hua was so shocked that she was disbelieving. At the same time, she was deeply worried. Depriving someone of their destiny was a great feud. If I grew up in the future, I would be a great enemy of the Three Clarities sect. If that sect's divine beast were here, I would be annihilated on the spot. Yu Hua could only solemnly advise, do not reveal your Jade Clarity Dao Foundation to others, especially to the donkey and the Zhao family beside me. Otherwise, you will surely die. Why? Just because I didn't rot in the mud as they wanted? Yu Hua frowned and said, your talent is unparalleled in this world. If you enter the Three Clarities sect, you might become the next sect leader, but my uncles won't allow your existence. However, I can contact my master and have the Jade Clarity sect of the Three Clarities sect arrange for you to hide. This was the best solution Yu Hua could think of. However, I refused and said something strange. I remember that the fairy said earlier that the Three Clarities sect does not reject outsiders from learning the Three Clarities Dao techniques. Yu Hua smiled slightly. You want me to teach you more Three Clarities Dao techniques without entering the sect? I nodded. I was very short of Dao techniques right now. After a moment of silence, Yu Hua actually agreed. I was about to thank her. Unexpectedly, she said something shocking again. Not only will I teach you the techniques that the sect allows to be passed down to outsiders, but I can also teach you the techniques that are not allowed to be passed down. Yu Hua wasn't stupid. I was a genius without any support. She just needed to put in some effort, and she might receive a 1,000-fold return in the future. I also thought of this. I solemnly said, "Fairy, your kindness in discovering my talent. This humble GU will surely go through fire and water for you." Showing my talent to win her over was just the beginning. The most important thing was to promise her benefits. If I didn't give her a cake to imagine, how would she invest in me? After an incense stick of time, we returned to the courtyard. I thought Yu Hua would pass down a cultivation technique to me. However, she asked a strange question. I have a Jade Clarity sword technique and a Netherworld spear here. The former is one of the top 10 sword techniques of the 3 clarities, while the latter is just a chi refining technique. Which one do you want? I raised an eyebrow. Even with a brain full of shit, you'd know the sword technique was stronger. But strangely, I chose the Netherworld spear. I was currently being suppressed by the Heavenly Tao. The Netherworld spear wasn't the best, but it was what I could master in a short time. However, when I held Yu Hua's hand, the Netherworld spear and the Jade Clarity sword technique appeared in my mind at the same time. She looked at me with satisfaction. My master asked me the same question back then. You have a strong determination. My master should like you very much. The sky soon brightened. Looking at Yu Hua's departing figure, I sighed. A top-notch sword technique and a spear technique that ordinary martial arts couldn't match were so easily obtained, and I also gained the favor of the fairy. This was the benefit of showcasing one's talent. Now that the chaos was about to come, I had to seize the time to cultivate and make myself capable of protecting myself. Over the following month, by consuming the celestial marrow in my mind, I mastered the first stance of the Jade Clarity sword technique, while the Netherworld spear was cultivated directly to its highest level, but the celestial marrow that could significantly increase cultivation speed was depleted. So I asked my confidant, Jiang Fugue, if he had found other channels for medicine. However, he frowned and said, "I've found 3, but they can't take the amount we need. The old poison woman from before is also not able to keep up, so he has been raising the price to get your money." Just as I was worrying about replenishing the celestial marrow, Jiang Fugue suddenly blushed and said, "However, I've found another channel. The dragon tiger pills in the brothel are made from medicine worms. If you want them, 10,000 taels is no problem, but it can't hide your identity." After some thought, I made a decision and asked him to buy some dragon tiger pills first. In the evening, just as I was about to leave, a worker suddenly looked nervous and said, "I have something to report. Last night, I saw a yellow dragon in the dragon spring well." My eyes narrowed slightly. It was normal for a spiritual spring to give birth to a strange beast. There should be a treasure. In the following days, I would come to the water room every sunset and draw a bucket of well water to replenish the earth essence, but I could not find the spirit beast, until one evening, when I had the worker draw up the bucket. A huge splash suddenly erupted from the well. The strong pulling force almost caused the worker to lose his footing. My heart stirred. I immediately ordered them to pull up the bucket and promised 10 taels of silver to everyone who helped. After speaking, I silently retreated to a safe distance. Hearing about the silver, the workers immediately became motivated. However, when the bucket was pulled up, the scene before them directly frightened everyone. A huge snake monster with its mouth stuck on the bucket was violently thrashing around. I was the first to come back to my senses and ordered the guards beside me, "Kill this beast." However, to my surprise, the usually mighty palace guards ran away in panic. Fortunately, 1 or 2 battle-hardened veterans drew their swords and struck down. I thought it wouldn't hurt the snake's body at all. However, to my surprise, they drew blood with a single strike. The snake started struggling more violently. I no longer retreated to a distance, but instead started to size it up. If it could be wounded by mortal swords, it was not a threat. But I still told people to retreat. I originally planned to let the palace handle it. Unexpectedly, the fate in my body suddenly resonated. The normally still earth essence was incredibly excited. My spirits were lifted. I fiercely drew out a sword. The next moment, a flash of cold light brought up a wave of blood, and the snake monster's head was completely severed. I casually shook the blood from the blade and immediately ordered everyone to pull the snake monster out. The people from the palace would come soon. They were not reinforcements but rather those who came to scavenge. I had to hurry. Under my urging, the snake monster was quickly pulled out. I touched its corpse, and my fate resonated with varying intensity. The closer to the head, the more intense it was. Whatever was making the earth essence so excited must be a treasure. so I picked up my sword and slashed at the head, but heard a loud clang as the sword struck the skull. At this moment, Jiang Fugui rushed over. Master Ji Yu, Eunuch Feng is here with a group of palace guards. No matter what you have to do, delay them. After giving the instructions to Jiang Fugui, I told the workers to bash the snake monster's head. Although the bones cracked, they didn't break completely open. Seeing that there wasn't much time, I directly had people pry open the snake monster's mouth and then put half of my body inside. Finally, I cut open the soft bone of its jaw and reached in. The stench of slime splattered on my face. Almost there, it's inside, just a bit more. Just when my fate's resonance was getting stronger, my fingertip suddenly touched a hard object. The next moment, the earth essence surged fiercely like a river. At the same time, a sharp voice came. "What are you doing?" Before I could take the treasure, I was dragged out by the palace guards. Eunuch Feng looked at me condescendingly. "Master Ji Yu, what are you doing crawling inside His Highness's auspicious beast? If you ruin it, can you take responsibility?" I glared at him coldly. Countless urges to kill him surged in my mind, but in the end, I explained that I had lost a jade pendant that the snake monster had swallowed and I was trying to get it back. I didn't know the value of the treasure in the snake monster at the moment, so it wasn't worth the risk. Eunuch Feng glanced at me with disdain. "I'll take this auspicious beast. His Highness is eager to present it to the fairy." I retreated to the side and watched helplessly as the snake monster was carried away. An hour later, half of the capital knew that the 9th prince had killed a flood dragon. He was truly destined for greatness. At this moment, Zhao Feng excitedly arrived in front of Yu Hua's courtyard and said to the divine beast donkey, "There is news about the immortal destiny that the Three Clarities Sect is looking for. This junior requests to see the fairy." Because of the undying medicine incident, the donkey did not make things difficult for Zhao Feng this time. Instead, it turned and ran into the courtyard. A minute later, it ran back out. "Yu Hua wants to see you." This made Zhao Feng, the suck-up, almost jump for joy. He walked into the courtyard, taking 3 steps with every 2 strides. A moment later, Yu Hua walked out of the courtyard. The incessant chattering from Zhao Feng beside her annoyed her. She couldn't help but think of my figure. If it were me, I wouldn't be so long-winded. Instead, she would need to carefully consider what I said. Not long after, Yu Hua saw the snake monster and her eyes suddenly lit up. "Where was this found?" Zhao Feng smiled proudly. "The fairy's instructions have kept me up day and night. Today, on a whim, I went to the Dragon Spring well and happened to encounter this monster causing trouble. So I took my sword and mounted my horse. After a fierce battle, I finally defeated this monster." However, Yu Hua immediately guessed the truth. It was me who was in charge of the Dragon Spring well who had found it. Her heart stirred as she pursed her lips and said, "You did well. You don't need to go personally anymore. The fairy is concerned about me." Zhao Feng felt like he was floating on air. Yu Hua ignored him. She raised a hand, and a wisp of spiritual light instantly flew out of the snake monster's head. Before the treasure could be seen clearly, it was taken into her sleeve. That night, just as I was thinking about how to approach the snake monster's body, a familiar voice suddenly came from outside the door. I opened it and saw Yu Hua holding a pearl in her hand. "This is yours, a water-averting pearl. It's a treasure. Oh no, the soft rice is too delicious. I'm going to become a suck-up like Zhao Feng." Seeing me staring at her blankly, Yu Hua smiled and said, "Since you killed this great demon, then what belonged to it should also be yours." After saying that, she walked into the room by herself and began flipping through the books on the bookshelf. She didn't hold back at all. I really wanted to stop her. There were some embarrassing things on them. However, all my concerns were drawn to the pearl. I went forward and picked it up, feeling like something lost had been found again. Yu Hua flipped through the scrolls and said without raising her head, "Do you know the method to refine it?" I quickly reached out my hand and said, "Please, fairy, bestow the method on me." Yu Hua couldn't help but let out a light chuckle. It took a while before she reached out her hand. I skillfully took it. A burst of green energy instantly entered my mind. Jade treasures and swords. This was like a complete textbook on magical weapons. The soft rice was so good. I cupped my hands and bowed, once again throwing out a big empty promise. "Thank you, fairy, for your kindness. This humble GU will keep it in mind. In the future, if you need anything, I will go through fire and water for you." Yu Hua nodded in agreement. What she sought was just kindness and favor. Although it was a bit utilitarian, it was better than not wanting anything and scaring me away. She didn't ask about the snake monster I killed today. She didn't know if it was a monster. Unexpectedly, Yu Hua said something shocking. "It's not a snake, but a python. It can be used to replenish yang in medicine. To become a demon or a dragon, what you killed might be a dragon child." I was stunned. This dragon child is too weak, isn't it? It's not that the dragon child is weak, but the Great Qian, this land of immortal ascension, is too dangerous. All living things must be reversed. This is the heavenly Tao of the land of immortal ascension. That night, Yuhua stayed in my home again, guiding me in jade treasure swordsmanship over and over again, until I had finished recuperating and digesting everything. I officially began to refine the spiritual treasure. But when I poured my divine sense into the pearl, the phantom of the snake monster began to whirl up, like a giant dragon overlooking me from above. The next second, the giant dragon opened its mouth and pounced at me. Its speed extremely fast. However, I actually cut the snake monster in half with a single sword strike, but strangely, the snake monster reappeared in an instant. This time, it didn't lash out but looked at me in fear. So this is the function of the earth essence, which allows me to ignore the heavenly decree and forcefully refine a spiritual treasure of a fairy. I don't have to worry about the spiritual essence of the treasure being erased. However, looking at the snake monster trying to rub my ankle to beg for mercy, I fiercely pressed its head to the ground. The sword fell and its head was lopped off. When the snake monster was reborn again, it was still begging for mercy. This meant that it was conserving its strength. Without saying anything, I struck with my sword again until the fifth time, when the earth essence was exhausted and a wisp of shock entered my body. I slowly opened my eyes. May I ask, fairy, who is the strongest in sword refining? Yuhua came down to the steps. There is a sword refining list here. It is recorded on the list. The top player practices swordsmanship 3 times a day. The second one needs 10 days for one sword, and the third one needs 1 month for one sword. My mouth twitched. I thought my one-day sword practice was already heaven-defying, but I didn't expect someone to be even more twisted than me. Yuhua's lips curved up. What? Do you also want to get on the list? In the future, when you enter the cultivation world, I can take you, provided you can refine spiritual treasures. As soon as she finished speaking, a burst of spiritual energy erupted, and water splashed everywhere. I sneered and asked, I wonder if your Lord Jiyu can be the second on the list? Yuhua didn't say a word. For days of enlightenment, 1 day of refining spirits, is there really someone in this world with such a monstrous talent? She casually glanced at the verses I had written. The sea ends where the sky becomes shore, and the mountain's summit is where I reign. Perhaps he wasn't hiding his abilities, but was just so arrogant that he didn't bother to show off to outsiders. At dawn, Yuhua got the hell out of here. Looking at the water wave bead that had already submitted, it can control water, provide defense, and accelerate cultivation. It's somewhat useful, but it's still far from the heavenly marrow. Just as I was missing the medicinal fruit, Jiang Fugui suddenly came in with a box. Master, here are the dragon tiger eggs you wanted, 50 taels of silver each. I grabbed one and stuffed it into my mouth. The heavenly marrow directly increased by 1/10, equivalent to 5 medicinal fruits. I freaking took off on the spot. It seems that the outrageously expensive stuff in this capital is very likely to be spiritual medicine. They all have the heavenly marrow and earth essence. However, what I didn't expect was that Jiang Fugui, who was beside me, was stunned and exclaimed, Master Ji Yu, how about I find you a courtesan? Not releasing the fire will harm your body. I rolled my eyes. I've been practicing internal energy recently, and I need a lot of dragon tiger pills to assist. I remember this stuff is from 1000 Phoenix Tower. That's right, this thing is limited. If you want to get more, you have to go to 1000 Phoenix Tower yourself. I nodded. 50 medicinal fruits take a year. Spending 1000 taels on the Celestial Venerable. 10 dragon tiger pills cost 500 taels a year. I still have 10,000 taels of silver now. I have to spend it quickly. Only in this capital can I buy spiritual medicine with money. At the same time, Yuhua climbed back over the wall into the courtyard and yawned. The old donkey at the entrance of the courtyard slowly came over. Little ancestor, you wouldn't really be experiencing a love tribulation, would you? How is that kid from the Zhao family inferior to him? Yuhua was too lazy to pay attention to this donkey that had received benefits, and went straight back to her room. But the old donkey kept nagging behind her. He has a true monarch father, and he also holds the Great Qian Emperor's luck. Enough. Yuhua's originally gentle voice suddenly rose sharply. How many benefits did you receive this time? The old donkey chuckled. Benefits? Of course, the more the better. This is all for the sect's grand sacrifice. The sooner I get the immortal medicine, the safer you will be. Yuhua said lightly. Protector, please don't reveal my information anymore. The old donkey pretended to be serious. I know what to do. I won't say what I shouldn't say. Your sense of propriety may not be mine. Yuhua suppressed her killing intent and changed the topic. The immortal medicine has stayed in the dragon spring well. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to give birth to spirit beasts. The old donkey's face turned serious. So the immortal medicine is in the dragon spring well? It just stayed there before. Yuhua shook her head. Go and tell the Zhao family to prepare a ship for me. I'm going to Qian River to take a look. After speaking, she closed the door, took out the poems I had given her, and immersed herself in them. The spring river rises level with the sea. The sea's bright moon is born with the tides. Does that GU family descendant like to travel on the river? But he would never have thought that I was already at the Thousand Phoenix Tower. As soon as I entered the private room, a tender white hand landed on my shoulder. Master GU, I heard you want dragon tiger pills. Have you finally opened up? Madam Young, please have some self-respect. I'm weak. I'm afraid I'll die here. I slapped her hand away. I sat at the table and continued to act like a big shot. Recently, a distant relative of mine has expanded his business, so I want to buy some dragon tiger pills to send over. After all, we are all merchants of Dragon Bridge. Thousand Phoenix Tower should still give me some face. I finally agreed on a price of 70 taels per pill. I wanted 5,000 taels of dragon tiger pills. Thousand Phoenix Tower agreed to deliver them in 2 batches. Once the deal was done, I was left to have a meal, but for some reason, I felt parched and my body restless. Could it be that my Dao Foundation had been repaired and my body was starting to fight back? My eyes darkened. I recited the mental formula. I thought I could suppress this impulse, but I didn't expect that it would trigger even more distracting thoughts. Fortunately, I closed my eyes, and the water wave bead suddenly vibrated. A coolness instantly surged into my mind, gradually crushing the distracting thoughts. Yang Shanyu looked at me, calmly drank the last glass of wine. A trace of surprise flashed in her eyes, and when I left, she immediately went to a room deep in the Thousand Phoenix Tower. Then a strange scene appeared. On the gauze window, the shadow of 9 tails slowly stretched out, followed by a charming voice. Who was that person just now? Yang Shanyu immediately knelt down. A merchant, a retainer of Zhao's 9th son. This time he wanted a lot of dragon tiger pills, probably for Zhao Feng. That person has good composure. See if we can win him over. These days, place a spy in the Sanqing Dao Sect to see what kind of immortal opportunity that Daoist Heavenly Maiden is looking for. At this time, Yu Hua did not know that she was being targeted. She was staring coldly at a scroll of imperial scenery on the table. The old donkey walked into the room. The Zhao family agreed to lend us the vermilion bird treasure ship. Yu Hua's eyes darkened. I remember only asking for an ordinary boat. How long would it take to find an ordinary small boat? The old donkey yawned. The Zhao family didn't agree to lend us the treasure ship at first. They made some conditions. What conditions did the Sect agree to? Yu Hua's tone was calm, but with a hint of killing intent. That if Zhao Feng can't refine the jade pendant in the future, then we'll help him refine it. The old donkey finally smelled something was wrong with Yu Hua. He quickly comforted her. This was originally a Sect treasure prepared for the Bu family. It's the same if it's given to the Zhao family now, although it will shorten their lifespan. It shouldn't be by much. Yu Hua asked faintly. You've already agreed to the Zhao family. Can I still go back on it? The old donkey had already sensed that something was wrong with Yu Hua. He didn't dare to be too harsh because Yu Hua had the immortal life. In this immortal land, no one could beat her. And just as the old donkey was about to continue to appease her, Yu Hua suddenly swung a palm. With a boom, the old donkey flew directly out of the room. He collapsed on the ground. Then Yu Hua's ethereal voice came. I, Qin Kang, can defy fate. After speaking, Yu Hua walked over step by step, her footsteps light yet as if a towering giant. This scene scared the 9th Prince Zhao Feng so much that he collapsed to the ground, his crotch wet, and the old donkey, looking at Yu Hua's towering Dharma image, couldn't help but think of that invincible Qing Tian Taoist monarch. It seems that guy isn't dead yet. Girl, what do you want? Yu Hua's voice was ethereal. As for the matter of borrowing the treasure ship, I will go to the palace myself and talk to the Zhao family emperor. Not long after, in the imperial palace, the guards in front of the palace fell one after another. Yu Hua walked into the empty hall. Taoist monarch emperor, I need to borrow a treasure ship from you. This is the reward. After speaking, she flicked a copper coin, and it landed on the alchemy furnace in the hall, and the emperor just nodded slightly. Sanqing Dao Sect has indeed produced a heavenly maiden. In the evening, my door was slowly pushed open, and the immortal Yu Hua stepped in under the moonlight, but her aura was faintly strange. I got up and lit the oil lamp, and asked, Immortal, what brings you here tonight? To teach you cultivation as usual. After all, after I leave the capital, you don't know where to find a palace. Yu Hua replied without hesitation. I was slightly stunned. Is the immortal leaving the capital? Yu Hua was about to nod, but suddenly covered her mouth with her hand and coughed violently. I quickly supported her. You injured, Immortal? Just some minor injuries. Let me pass on the cultivation methods first. After speaking, she held my right hand, and a wisp of divine thought poured into my body. Then 2 cultivation methods appeared in my mind, falling moon step and spiritual jade mutual body. The decisive body technique and the protective body technique are also essential cultivation methods. Yu Hua coughed twice again, but I didn't care about the cultivation methods. Instead I asked softly, you're not feeling well, Immortal. Why don't you rest tonight? Yu Hua felt warmth in her heart after hearing this. The body technique needs more practice, but the protective technique is an internal exercise and is easy to learn. I'll pass on the secrets to you first and then rest. What if I learn it? Then you will rest? Naturally, Yu Hua repeated the mantra, while her fingertips gently touched my acupoints. I sat cross-legged on the ground. The heavenly marrow within my body poured out. In the blink of an eye, I actually said, "I've already learned it. Can you rest for a moment?" Yuhua blinked her eyes. "Is talent so high that you don't even need to follow logic?" She wanted to say something more, but I had already pushed her onto a chair. "We're not talking about cultivation tonight. I won't ask too much, but please take care of yourself." That night, I chatted with her a lot, and just as we were having a good time, Yuhua suddenly took out the poem I had written and recited. "Who first saw the moon by the river? In what year did the river moon first shine upon us? Is there more?" She read the poem over and over again, thinking that there should be another verse, but was a little uncertain. Just as she was about to ask me again, my calm voice suddenly came and recited the content after "Spring, river, flower and moon night." Who knew that Yuhua was a bit dissatisfied after hearing it? Why did it turn into personal grudges later? And my next explanation actually brought the two of us closer, because it was written by a mortal. Life is only a few decades, with many emotions and desires, and only longing is forever common. Immortals may not be able to appreciate it. As soon as these words came out, Yuhua suddenly understood, got up, and bowed to me. "Fellow Daoist, I have learned it." I bowed in return. Then, at her request, I transcribed the entire poem into a book. As I was writing, I suddenly asked, "About how many cultivators are there in the Great Qian now?" "About 200 to 300 people. Whenever an immortal land opens, the top geniuses from the sects on the heaven, earth, and human lists will come in." After Yuhua finished speaking, she glanced at me and asked, "Do you know what rank I am?" I was originally just complimenting her, saying she should be number 1, but I didn't expect Yuhua to not deny it. Instead, she held up a finger and said, "There are 100 people on the human talent list, 50 on the earth talent list, and 10 on the heavenly mandate list. And I am at the top of that list, number 1 on the heavenly mandate list." She's that awesome? I couldn't help but be stunned. Yuhua smiled, and just as she was about to get up and leave, she suddenly turned back to look at me and said, "I'm already the top of the heavenly mandate list. When will you be the first on the human talent list?" After speaking, she turned and left. I suppressed the restlessness in my heart. With my abilities, I naturally want to make a name for myself, but I also know that fame is useless. So I activated the mental formula, suppressed the distracting thoughts, and kept cultivating until dawn. But when I opened my eyes, I found that only a trace of magic power had increased. Regarding the difficulty of cultivation, I had asked Yuhua. Her reply was, "The spiritual energy of the Great Qian is the best in the world, but it's all absorbed by various immortal sources." I felt the depleted heavenly marrow within my body and sighed. The dragon tiger pills from Thousand Phoenix Tower would still take a while. Without the help of the heavenly marrow, cultivation is too slow. Just as I was worrying about increasing the heavenly marrow, a eunuch from the Wang mansion suddenly came to my door, asking me to send 50,000 taels to the 9th prince. So I took the bill to the Wang mansion, and who knew that as soon as I entered the door, I was stopped by a familiar voice. "Oh, isn't this Master Gu?" The person who came was Husan Yuan, the black glove of the Wang mansion, running pawnshops and lending businesses, all of which were forced transactions. I responded coldly. My impression of him was extremely bad, and he didn't like me either. As the eternal second in command, he always harbored hostility towards the first. But when we arrived at the study together, the scene in front of us immediately stunned us. The once handsome and elegant 9th Prince Zhao Feng. At this moment, his face was pale, and he even coughed from time to time. He waved his hand. "It's been hard for you two ministers to come to the Wang mansion." I bowed my hands and said a polite greeting, but Husan Yuan knelt down extremely exaggeratedly. To be able to see His Highness's face, even going up a mountain of knives and down a sea of fire is worth it. Zhao Feng couldn't help but smile. "Minister Hu, please get up." I remained neither humble nor overbearing. I waited until Husan Yuan finished acting before handing over the water chamber bill. Zhao Feng was very happy. The water chamber can earn hundreds of thousands of taels a year, but for some reason, the bill only showed 30,000 taels at this time. He couldn't help but frown. "Why only 30,000 taels?" "In reply to your highness, this is all the silver that the water chamber can collect," I answered with my hands cupped. "Is there really not a single penny left in the water chamber?" Zhao Feng asked again, and I became even more curious. What exactly was the matter that was so urgent that the Wang mansion's money had been exhausted? But I still answered without changing my expression, "There isn't any left. I don't know how much silver your highness needs in the short term. The more the better." Of course. Does Minister Gu have any other ideas? However, as soon as Zhao Feng finished speaking, Husan Yuan suddenly stepped forward. "I have an idea. I remember that many of the water chamber's water carriers are in debt. We should collect some interest on that." I explained coldly, "The water carriers' debts combined are only about 1,000 taels. If your highness is in urgent urgent need of money. We can mortgage them at half price, along with 3 years of water bills. Half price for 3 years of water bills? That would be a loss of hundreds of thousands of taels. Hu Sanyuan, like a dog that had found a flaw, pounced on me frantically. The water carriers have no money, but they have houses. If they can't pay, take their houses. I glanced at him coldly. Why did he have to seek death? I had already decided to kill him when I had time. However, Zhao Feng clapped his hands and said with great interest, "What do you think, Minister Ji-Yu?" Hu Sanyuan smiled at me, thinking he was even more favored. His servile appearance was laughable. I still said without being arrogant, collecting debts will bankrupt many water carriers. Water carriers are labor job and need to know the roads of the capital. Not just anyone can do it. If your highness feels that 3 years of half-price water bills is too much, sell 1 year first. Hu Sanyuan quickly interjected, "Your highness, even half price would be 100,000 taels. That's too much." However, what I didn't expect was that Zhao Feng seemed to have made a decision. Everything listens to Ji Yu Qing. He knows who is truly doing the work. Hu Sanyuan is at best a little dog, pleasing him, but he can't really bring him benefits. I glanced at Hu Sanyuan's resentful eyes, and was about to turn around and leave, but Zhao Feng suddenly called out to me, "If anything happens at the Dragon Spring well recently, just inform the Immortal yourself. I'm not feeling well lately." How did this lickspittle Zhao Feng change his nature? He actually told me to go see Yu Hua directly. I was full of doubts, but didn't ask too much. It wasn't until evening that my confidant Jian Fugue investigated some of the inside information. Recently, Hu Sanyuan has been frequently going to the Thousand Phoenix Tower, buying large amounts of elixirs to give to Zhao Feng. It turns out the money was all spent on this. What was even more infuriating was that Hu Sanyuan had actually obtained the water carriers' IOUs, preparing to forcibly take their houses. Zhao Feng was finally persuaded by Hu Sanyuan, but the strange thing was, I remained calm and said, "Go and investigate where Hu Sanyuan has been staying recently." Jian Fugue widened his eyes. "Master, are you going to do him in?" I replied calmly, "I have connections with a top-level assassin in the martial world. It will only take some money." In the middle of the night, I arrived at Hu Sanyuan's residence. I really was short on money. Those were elixirs worth tens of thousands of taels. But what I never expected was that when the door was kicked open by me, I actually saw Hu Sanyuan lying on the ground, tied up, and on the bed were a man and a woman. I wasn't interested in the specifics, but I sensed the man's mana aura. This was a worldly cultivator. I had met a colleague. Although that person also noticed me, he didn't immediately attack. Instead, he covered the woman with a blanket and reassured her, "Don't be afraid, my wife. A guest has just arrived. I will entertain him a little." After speaking, he got off the bed. I found a good wife this time, but she didn't know how to cherish it. She would scold and beat me every day. So my wife and I hit it off, so I took her in. "If you want to seek justice, you've come to the wrong place." As soon as he finished speaking, the sharp point of my spear had already attacked. He could have dodged, but he chose to protect the woman behind him. But when the tip of my spear touched his brow, no blood was seen to bloom, only a golden light shattered. I guessed this was some kind of treasure, and swept with my spear again. The man wanted to resist, but he didn't expect my strength to be so outrageously great. He was slammed hard into the wall. Immediately afterward, he flipped over, and with a stretch of his hand, a spear appeared out of thin air, instantly clashing against my repeated attacks. He was also a master of the spear, but still far worse than me. The next second, the mana of my second-level Dao physique suddenly surged. With a fierce thrust, the mysterious man flew out and spat out a mouthful of blood. Praising, "Good spear technique. I'm Bai Shen He Huan, 10th on the human list. May I ask this fellow Daoist's name?" My voice was low, echoing between the heavens and the earth. I am not on the 3 human lists. I originally didn't care, but when I saw someone who was not as good as me was able to climb onto the human list, I could no longer suppress my thoughts. Low position on the human list, absolute peak on the earth list. I tightened my grip on my spear. The spear was burning like a raging fire. Then what should you call me? I come from the mortal world, and came here in search of eternal life. I am the Red Dust Daoist. He Huan cupped his hands and said, "I am a contemporary disciple of the Yin Yang Tu Chi sect. My Daoist name is Bai Shen. Please enlighten me." After he finished speaking, with a boom, 2 figures flashed past. In an instant, more than 10 moves had passed. My spear light bloomed in the dark night. He Huan was surprised to feel that my spear technique had no flaws at all. But just when he was about to lose, he suddenly heard a cracking sound. A crack had actually appeared in the spear in my hand. He Huan immediately guessed that my weapon was just ordinary, so he risked taking a blow, and then with a bang, my spear instantly broke. It was just a normal wooden stick after all, with a spear wing attached. I was about to retreat. He Huan, however, suddenly took a step forward and thrust his spear. But the next second, something unexpected happened. Rainwater turned into the tip of my new spear. Immediately, I held half of the broken stick in my hand, and counterattacked forward. The rolling spear momentum instantly turned into a giant dragon, fiercely shattering He Huan's mind. He knelt on one knee, the silver spear in his hand fell to the ground, and what he couldn't accept the most was that he finally saw clearly that I only had a wooden stick in my hand, and the spear mark just now. Damn it, which monster from a great sect has come out again? Yvonne was filled with depression, and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. He dropped the broken stick and said lightly, "You're now number 11 on the human list, Bai Xing Yvonne." Yvonne smiled miserably. "Fellow Daoist, I admit defeat. You can have everything except that little girl. You're really a passionate man." Hearing my words, Yvonne explained embarrassedly, "I practice the yin-yang method, and I need to cultivate with a woman. Originally I heard that Zhao's ninth son was spending a lot of money to buy spiritual medicine, and I wanted to grab something, but I heard the family crying late at night, so I had to take care of them. I looked strange, admitting that I was only here for the spiritual medicine." Yvonne's eyes lit up. "Then you should know that Zhao's ninth son ordered an Ningdao pill from the Thousand Phoenix Sect, which can increase the speed of forging the Dao, but the pill hasn't been refined yet. These are all auxiliary medicines." I was stunned for a moment, although I didn't know. I still nodded and said, "That's what I'm here for," but my heart was slightly excited. Those tens of thousands of taels of elixirs were just auxiliary medicines. How much heavenly marrow would the Ningdao pill be? Then we walked into the room. Amidst Hu Sun Yuan's muffled cries of terror, I released my knife on his neck, and he quickly fell silent. Then I opened the box on the table, and 10 pills were lying quietly inside. Recently, Hu San Yuan had taken 100,000 taels from the Wang mansion. Each of these was worth 10,000 taels. Wouldn't it be equivalent to 10 dragon tiger pills? However, Yvonne's next words poured cold water on me. "These elixirs are high-grade dragon tiger pills. Only one is produced per batch of more than 10 pills. Although the efficacy is the same, they are better in that they have no pill toxicity and do less damage to the meridians." I immediately felt something was wrong after hearing this. I picked one up and ate it. The destiny within my body instantly vibrated, only increasing 1/5 of the heavenly marrow. Before, the dragon tiger pills I ate increased by 1/10 each. This means that these high-grade pills are only twice as potent. 10,000 taels to buy this stuff? That would have been enough for me to buy hundreds of dragon tiger pills. However, I said without changing my expression, "Pills are hard to come by. I still think more is better. Pill toxicity can be eliminated through cultivation methods, but pills can't appear out of thin air." Who knew that Yvonne would shake his head in denial? "Medicinal fruits from the spirit stream are 10-year-old spiritual medicine outside. Since you've worked hard to get into the #1 treasure land in the world, you naturally want to choose the best of the best." A doubt in my mind was also cleared up, whether it was the medicinal fruits or the dragon tiger pills. These things that can be bought with money are all inferior goods. The worldly cultivators looked down on them, so I asked him if he wanted these high-grade dragon tiger pills. Yvonne was also a smart man and immediately laughed. "What do you want, fellow Daoist? Spiritual medicine or silver and gold?" I shook my head and said deliberately, "I don't care for gold or silver. I'll take spiritual medicines and pills." Who knew that Yvonne's next words would reveal an earth-shattering secret? What's considered gold and silver outside is just dung in the Great Qian. We can't bring in a lot of gold either. The boundary-breaking formation needs spirit stones even for a strand of hair. Without money, how are you supposed to get the mortals to work? I suddenly understood. Because of the special location of the Great Qian, there are countless spiritual medicines, so the worldly cultivators look down on inferior goods, but because they can't bring them in, they use spiritual medicines to exchange for money with the mortals. Then I spoke. "I want pills. How much do you think these 10 high-grade dragon tiger pills are worth?" In terms of low-grade dragon tiger pills, I thought that maybe they could be exchanged for 5. After all, they were second-hand goods. Unexpectedly, Yvonne actually said, 20. "How's that?" I gasped. This was directly a 20x increase. That's 200 dragon tiger pills. What was even more unexpected was, seeing that I wasn't talking, Yvonne actually thought that his offer was too low. He quickly changed his offer and said, "High-grade dragon tiger pills are rare. It's normal for you to want more. Fellow Daoist, 25 dragon tiger pills. How's that?" That's a 25x increase. However, the more this was the case, the more calmly and cautiously I nodded in agreement. Sure enough, after hearing this, Yvonne scratched his head and said, "I don't know if you need them urgently, fellow Daoist. I can't come up with that many right now. If you need them urgently, I can exchange them with spirit treasures." My eyes lit up. I asked, "With your silver spear? I really need this kind of weapon that can be put away right now. After all, the weapons that enter the Great Qian are naturally not ordinary." Yvonne covered his wrist and said with caution, "I have connections with the Qianlong Mountain Manor, who are second to none in weapon forging. I can ask them to forge a weapon for you, and the weapon's aura can also change." The deal was made. 10 high-grade dragon tiger pills for a spirit treasure. When the time comes, we'll trade the money for the goods. Compared to the heavenly marrow, I need a spear more. We agreed to meet after a month. Then we return to the original topic. Yvonne threw out a very tempting proposal. If you want the Ningdao pill, we can work together. We can intercept it when Zhao's ninth son refines it. There are generally 2 to 3 pills. I only need one. However, I still wanted to get more information out of him, so I asked in return. Tonight we alerted the enemy. Zhao's family is on alert. How will we be able to defeat hundreds of thousands of Imperial guards? As expected, Yvonne let me in on another important piece of information. It's not the Zhao family, but Zhao's ninth son. You don't know, fellow Daoist, that Zhao Feng has the destiny of a Daoist heavenly maiden. It was originally a great opportunity, but for some reason, a few days ago, the Daoist heavenly maiden actually fought with the Taoist monarch emperor. Who do you think won? I answered without hesitation. Everything in the capital is peaceful. It's likely that the Daoist heavenly maiden had the upper hand. Yvonne exclaimed, I think so too. That heavenly maiden is worthy of being the top of the heavenly mandate list. She's only been in the mortal world for a few months, but she's already pressing the Daoist monarch emperor down. Then, his voice changed. If the Ningdao pill isn't eaten by a Daoist maiden, it will damage the foundation. The Daoist monarch emperor won't allow his son to eat it. Then why did Zhao's ninth son still refine it? I asked in confusion. Yvonne laughed lightly. They were probably scared by the Daoist heavenly maiden. Maybe the heavens will kick him out someday, but that's none of our business. What do you think of my proposal, fellow Daoist? Worth a shot? I grinned. A man can't get rich without windfalls, and how could I miss such a golden opportunity? The next morning, news of the stolen ammo triggered a roar from Zhao Feng throughout the entire manor, the sound reaching the small courtyard. Old Donkey chuckled as he entered. This capital city is getting lively. I wonder whose descendant has the audacity to stir trouble under the very nose of the Dao sovereign emperor. Just an old man guarding a furnace, Yu Hua said without looking up. Old Donkey grimaced. Don't underestimate him. There's a true lord sitting in the Zhao family's frontier, but Yu Hua said indifferently. I can still blow him away. Old Donkey was speechless. Although Yu Hua's use of his life force would damage his foundation, he really could blow anyone away. The little ancestor is becoming a real ancestor. Old Donkey, sweating a little, continued. Zhao Feng is preparing to enter seclusion to refine the jade pendant, probably within this year. What does that have to do with me? Yu Hua remained unmoved. Little ancestor, he is, after all, your guardian. Unworthy, Yu Hua said, raising an eyebrow at Old Donkey. I am already top of the heaven ranking. My guardian should be the number 1 on the overall list. If there isn't one, I don't need one. Let him bask in the glory with that jade pendant. At the same time, I was in my room counting last night's spoils. 4,520 top-grade dragon tiger pills. Just as I was feeling rather wealthy, there was a sudden knock on the door by a palace eunuch from the manor. Lord Jiyu, save His Highness Zhao Jianing. What trouble is this time? I originally thought it was about last night's exposure, but unexpectedly, as soon as Zhao Feng saw me, he asked me to take charge of buying pills. After all, I was the only one left in the manor who could handle things. I blinked. I was just planning to rob Zhao Feng's pills, and yet he offered them to me. I nodded and agreed, and left in a carriage, but oddly, when passing the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion, it was surrounded by all the city's people, with 2 huge banners hanging down, proclaiming the poems that the new top scholar wrote for the new courtesan last night. I felt utterly bored. The courtesans of the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion come and go every year, and every year people make a fool of themselves over them. The only unique thing this time was the scholar's poems. Late that night, while I was meditating with my eyes closed, the door was suddenly opened. I opened my eyes. I saw Yu Hua looking down at the poems. He really likes these sappy poems. Then, I told him about last night's events. However, upon hearing that I had defeated the 3rd on the human ranking, he was not surprised. Instead, he looked at me with interest. Have you mastered the 4th level of the famed spear technique? Barely made it. Not only the famed spear, but also the movement technique, I said humbly. Yu Hua's eyes showed some appreciation, but suddenly a strange thought arose. Thinking of my cunning nature, I probably have some other tricks up my sleeve, so I asked without changing expression, how's your practice with the spirit jade body protection art? Jiyu hasn't learned it yet. But as soon as I said that, a hand suddenly reached out, and I instinctively retreated, but Yu Hua pressed closer. The two seemed to be dancing in mid-air. I was instantly pinned to the wall, unable to move. Yu Hua's hand caressed my chest, touching the hardness there, and he couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, Spirit Jade Body Protection, even the exceptional daughter mirror is mastered? I laughed awkwardly. 3 days ago, Jiyu practiced day and night, barely achieving a breakthrough, but Yu Hua said seriously, cultivation is a very private matter, but at least tell me where you have reached. I don't want you to waste your energy on pointless realms. After all, you lack no techniques. I will give you the best techniques in the world. This was absolutely domineering. But I still calmly asked, what do I need to give in return? Yu Hua smiled, only diligence. If you really want to get into the reasons, your talent is truly extraordinary and it is worthy of elegant words. I have a deep regard for it, as Ji is a man who is consistent and always strives to repay a drop of water with a gushing spring. But as soon as my words faded, Yuhua laughed and said with a smile, "Then, repay me with a gushing spring today." Recently, a top scholar wrote poems for the courtesan of the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion. Can you write one for me? I was silent for a moment. I've never offered poems to courtesans, or it would demean my status as an ancestor. What? Lost for words? I may not be as beautiful as that vixen from the Thousand Phoenix Sect, but I'm not too far off. After saying that, Yuhua let out a soft laugh, making the moonlight appear dim. This scene made me fall into a state of contemplation, as if the ancestor had taken over, and poems spilled out involuntarily. Her face like a flower, her dress like a cloud, the spring breeze kisses the railing, the dew is thick. Yuhua's eyes widened, and his smile gradually disappeared. If not seen on the Mount of Jade, we'll meet under the moon on the Jade Tower. Yuhua completely fell silent. He immediately felt that the poems from the Great Qian top scholar were simply vulgar. I broke the silence and asked, "How do you feel, fairy?" She came back to her senses at this moment. The poem had reached perfection compared to the poem that the vixen of the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion received. It was like mud compared to the clouds. If the fellow Daoist likes it, that is good. Then, I changed the subject and asked, "I have recently had business dealings with the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion. Is there anything I should be aware of?" But as soon as I finished the sentence, Yuhua immediately warned me sternly. The Thousand Phoenix Pavilion is backed by a demonic Dao sect. The Thousand Phoenix Sect values karma, and does not want to have a fault on their karmic record, so they love to seduce men, but never fulfill their promises. Their current head in this world is the 5th ranked of the Earth ranking, Fox Immortal Ru Chan. I understood. This was a group of female cultivators who loved to cultivate simps. You should cultivate well. They are not a big threat to you. After saying that, Yuhua wrote down the poems from earlier, reading them again and again, pondering about finding a chance to recite them to that vixen. A few days later, I took Husan Yuan's place and arrived at the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion. As soon as I sat down, I said, "This is my first time taking charge of this. Can Manager Yang tell me about it?" "Of course." Yang Shan, the steward of the Imperial Treasury, said, "We at the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion rely on the Pleasure House and the supplementary pills. These Dragon Tiger pills are in high demand. Originally, Lord Goose pills still needed some time, but since the manor gave us such a large deal, I can give you a backdoor," said the steward. Then, a group of maids came forward with wooden boxes. 120 Dragon Tiger pills were neatly arranged, equivalent to 10 years of heavenly marrow. According to the previously agreed price of 70 taels each, this was 8,400 taels. And I only had 5,600 taels. Even adding the previous deposit of 2,000 taels, it was still not enough. But surprisingly, I said without hesitation, "I want them all." Although I didn't have the money, I had Zhao Feng's money. However much I needed, I would embezzle. Even if I could be discovered, as long as the risk could quickly be turned into strength, it was no risk. Strength is the real currency. Yang Shan was a bit surprised. "Can Lord Ji really take them all? Please pay all at once, because the amount is quite large." So, I slapped 6,400 taels of silver notes on the table without any hesitation. Half of it will be reimbursed by Zhao Feng. Then, another box of pills was brought up. Yang Shan continued, "These are the top-grade Dragon Tiger pills refined in our store. There are only 5. Each is 1,500 taels. To increase the success rate, we've also exhausted our mines. About 15 inferior quality ones come out of each furnace, but what I said next left Yang Shan in place. The manor will also take the inferior quality Dragon Tiger pills, but 1,000 taels for a top-grade pill and 400 taels for an inferior one." Yang Shan frowned. "By making that offer, not only are you slashing 500 taels off the price, you also want to buy the inferior pills at a low price. Do you think this is reasonable, Lord Ji? Very reasonable." My gaze was steady, and my aura subtly surpassed Yang Shan's. "Keeping your rubbish pills is no better than selling them to me in the south, and I can quickly get your silver back." Yang Shan pondered for a moment but did not agree. Instead, he said he needed to ask his boss, but soon after, he returned with unexpected words, "The boss wants to meet Lord Ji." Then I followed him to a room. Fox Immortal Lu Chan's lazy voice drifted out. "Mr. Ji, your business acumen is always so sharp, but do you know, the cost of one batch of Dragon Tiger pill ingredients is 55 taels, and an average batch contains 15 pills. How much do you think we at the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion make?" I replied without thinking, "After deducting costs, a profit of 695 taels, a tenfold increase." But you still make too little. Lu Qian raised an eyebrow slightly. Then how should we make more? I did not answer, but cupped my fist and said, this is how I do my business. Here is 5 mid-grade dragon tiger pills for Mr. GU. Lu Qian said, not begrudging the extra money. Business isn't about making money, it's about networking. And after I received the pills, I also pointed out the issues with the Dragon Tiger pills. They are mainly sold to the rich and powerful who frequent the pleasure houses. The consumer group is small, the purchase is weak, and the price is not exorbitantly high. Lu Qian continued to ask, then should I raise the price? However, I asked back, how long can Dragon Tiger pills be stored? When I learned that they would lose their efficacy in a month, I secretly rejoiced. It turned out that those inferior pills were going to be discarded anyway. Then I can take advantage of the situation to get profits. So I replied, the price of 50 taels each in the capital has already created an impression. It's better to sell them directly to the wealthy south, for 500 taels each. Let the price become a reason for purchasing Dragon Tiger pills. Lu Qian's mouth slightly opened. This price is a tenfold increase? She continued to ask how I would sell them. I'm not talented, but I can do it for you. This is a chance to achieve my goal. These short-term goods are best for wild embezzlement, but more strangely, what responded to me was a charming laugh. Suddenly, a beautiful figure appeared in my mind, irresistible. I immediately activated the Jade Purity Sword art, severing my stray thoughts, and the confusion in my eyes instantly disappeared. But I still staggered, pretending to lose my footing. Yang Shan, who was on the side, secretly laughed. I was usually like a monk, but I was still unable to resist seduction. At this moment, Lu Qian spoke again, but I am afraid I can't afford the fees. Her voice so sweet that my bones seemed to melt. I couldn't help but reply, if I do it, the remaining fees can be covered by me. Then I thank you, Mr. GU. After saying that, I was escorted back to my room, but to Lu Qian's surprise, an uninvited guest came to his door at night. Oh, isn't this Sister Yuhua? What wind has blown you here today? Did my little sister here just happen to be on your way? Yuhua was actually worried about me. Then she pushed open the door. Lu Qian looked at Yuhua easily bypassing her formation, and said with a somewhat stiff face, Sister, what exactly brings you here today? But strangely, Yuhua asked casually, I heard a top scholar has recently written poems for you. Yes, there is such a matter, Lu Qian said, rolling her eyes. She then recited triumphantly, her smile like a blooming flower, her brilliance radiant. Although it describes me, it should be worthy of Sister Yuhua. She knew that Yuhua had a love for poems but never appeared publicly, so almost no one else knew. But what was beyond her expectations was Yuhua's elegant voice, her face like a flower, her dress like a cloud. The spring breeze kisses the railing, the dew is thick. If not seen on the Mount of Jade, we'll meet under the moon on the Jade Tower. Yu Chan's eyes widened, then gradually darkened. Her poem not only fell short but was completely embarrassing. However, Yuhua laughed, tilted her head, and asked, how did you know that someone else also wrote poems for me? After saying that, she turned and left. Feeling refreshed, Yu Chan hurriedly chased after her. May I ask who is the author of this poem, sister? Yuhua did not answer, just glanced back, and in an instant Yu Chan felt she was in grave danger, until Yuhua's figure disappeared. Yu Chan then pursed her lips. Just now, she sensed the killing intent from Yuhua. Just asking for a name made her so bold. Who could that person be? In an instant, her gossipy heart was ignited. At this moment, I, who had returned to my room, had recovered my senses, but there was a bit more dread in my eyes. The 5th on the Earth ranking is indeed not simple. Even though I had been prepared, I still fell victim. I originally intended to buy the inferior Dragon Tiger pills at a reduced price, but I ended up helping them for free. They really are a freeloading sect, but I don't know why. I suddenly chuckled. What a coincidence, I also want to freeload. 2 days later, I arrived at the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion again. At this time, there was still 1 day until the Myriad Dao pill was refined. I pretended to be captivated by Yu Chan and reported Zhao Feng's situation to her, but just as I was about to leave, she suddenly asked a strange question. Do you know anyone Yuhua has interacted with, other than Zhao Feng? I have only seen Fairy Yuhua, and do not know who else she has met. Truly useless. Yu Chan was a bit displeased. But looking at me with my head bowed, she didn't pursue it further. It was strange for a mortal to be able to meet with Yuhua. That Daoist bitch was quite arrogant, so she just dismissed me. Who knew that as soon as I left in my carriage, I immediately sensed a gaze coming towards me. I tilted my head slightly. I saw a monk coldly staring at me, his eyes like he was looking at a rabbit waiting to be slaughtered. But I sneered inside. Come on, the more the better. There are still 10 hours until the Myriad Dao pill is refined. Back home, I looked at the pile of Dragon Tiger pills on the table and smiled. Today, I am not a poor Daoist, I am a Dao Lord. Then, I began to consume these 100 or so Dragon Tiger pills, and did not finish until late at night. In the end, I increased my heavenly marrow by 13 years. In the long run, it's best to use it to reach the limit, but currently, my Dantian's Qi Ocean was more than enough. The most important thing was that I was about to go and snatch the Myriad Dao Pill. Instead of seeking stability, I would rather seek perfection. 5 years ago, the moment I knelt before Zhao Feng, I said to myself, either I would endure until I died, or I would seize any chance to rise. Now that they have been singing for so long, it was my turn to take the stage. So, I submerged my consciousness into my mind. I poured 8 years of heavenly marrow into the Xianming spear technique. I only need to follow the heavenly marrow's will, and my spear intent can reach a profound level, enough to ascend to the earth ranking. As expected, moments later, at a certain holy site, an old man was wiping the floor. A golden light suddenly appeared on the inscription, and a new name emerged, 81st on the earth ranking. The mortal soldier, the Xianming spear is divine. But the old man's wiping motion did not change. 81st place, still not quite enough. Then, I released my spear intent, and instead focused on another direction to continue consuming the heavenly marrow. With the 9th year of heavenly marrow, the essence of my body started to burn like fire. Until the 13th year of heavenly marrow, I suddenly looked up. A flash of scarlet tore through the sky. A huge pupil slowly opened, eventually forming a giant dragon with spear wings, filled with murderous aura. I stroked the dragon's head. I will call you the Jiaolai spear. As soon as I finished speaking, the Holy Emperor's inscription suddenly shook. The old man's eyes widened. A red light burst out, stepping down on countless geniuses. 6th on the earth ranking, Fox Immortal Yu Chen. 5th on the earth ranking, the killing spear of the mortal world. 3 days ago, I, who had no sect, broke into the top 10 of the human ranking. 3 days later, I stepped onto the 5th place of the earth ranking. At this moment, I slowly exhaled a breath of air. A fiery spear appeared in my right hand. This was the Xianming spear, 6th level, the Jiaolai spear divine, the strongest force I had at my disposal. Nearly invincible at close range, but I dared not relax, and instead gazed towards the direction of the Imperial Palace. The real danger was the Dao Sovereign, the Emperor. At this time, there was still 1 hour until the pill was refined. I put on a mask and climbed out of the window, soon arriving at the Dragon Bridge night market. Yihuan was shocked when he saw me. He didn't understand why my aura had become so much more oppressive. At this moment, a distant bell sound rang out, and a medicinal fragrance suddenly spread. I looked towards the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion outside the alley. The pills are ready. A sliver of killing intent made Yihuan's expression change slightly. Fellow Daoist of the mortal world, please be careful. Those who come into this world all have 2 guardians, a protector and a Dao guardian. Who is his Dao guardian? Don't you know? Fellow Daoist of the mortal world? Yihuan was a bit surprised. He then replied, the Fox Immortal's Dao Guardian is also a ranked expert, 21st on the human ranking, Yuji Yangshan. I nodded, although I was cautious inside, the arrow was already on the string. I had to seize every opportunity to obtain resources, so I asked the most critical question, are the guardians of the worldly ones all grand experts? Yihuan nodded gravely. Although there was an Immortal Emperor technique suppressing their cultivation level, they were at least in the returning Void Realm, much stronger than me. But surprisingly, I smiled. The Immortal Emperor does not care about the realm, only talent. If my talent is higher than the heavens, why should I fear them? This true lord is too arrogant. Although there are many geniuses in the world, few would not hold true lords in their eyes. But Yihuan liked it, so he also smiled. Fellow Daoist, go ahead. If something happens, I have a backup plan to take you away. Even if you can't seize the pill, I will still sell you a favor today. Then, I strode forward. My strange attire instantly attracted many gazes. The patrolling Imperial guards immediately ran towards me, but I did not try to hide myself. I just glanced at them. 10 steps away, the horses immediately lost control and crashed around, and even the blades in the guards' hands trembled. I couldn't suppress the smile on my face. I really liked this moment. Once I had the power, I couldn't help but trample this flourishing dragon bridge, stepping into these streets of palace walls. Fellow Daoist, may I ask what brings you to my Thousand Phoenix Pavilion? Yang Shan appeared at the door, confronting me. However, he regretted it as soon as he stood out. An overwhelming killing intent instantly locked onto him. His intuition frantically warned him. The mysterious man before him was extremely dangerous. I have come for a furnace of myriad Dao pills. Then, I gripped my spear, and killing intent exploded. Spear energy filled the spear, and to ask for some advice from the 21st on the human ranking, and the Fox Immortal who is 5th on the earth ranking. As soon as my words faded, the blue stone slabs under my feet suddenly crumbled. A point of cold light was wrapped with a monstrous murderous aura. Yang Shan had been prepared. A ghost light appeared in his palm. With a bang, Spear and palm clashed, and sparks flew. Yang Shan closed his palm, trying to seize the spearhead, but the tiger's mouth cracked before he could even hold it, and his blood was instantly sucked away by the spearhead. This spear was untouchable. As soon as this thought arose in his mind, the sky-filling spear energy instantly wrapped around him. Then, a giant dragon suddenly crashed his mind. He collapsed to the ground with a thud, looking up at me, who was like a demon god. He had lost. I entered the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion with my spear. I saw a noble hiding under a table, and I pierced him with a spear. I also killed an official next door. This place was crowded with dignitaries, but I just had to stretch my spear to pierce their flesh. So this was how fragile the lives of lords were. Just when I was stabbing them with pleasure, an old voice suddenly came out. Young one, leave the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion now, and I will spare you. But before his voice faded, my figure flashed, second level of the falling moon step. This allowed me to cross the distance of 3 jong instantly and arrive within 6 feet of him. The Thousand Phoenix Protector's pupils dilated. Even if he had a myriad of techniques, it was difficult to use them. He could only watch as I thrust out with my spear. With a boom, the Thousand Phoenix Protector flew out like a cannonball. He collapsed to the ground, his eyes full of disbelief. It was actually a divine spear technique. He struggled to stand up, spiritual energy flickering on his body. Then a strange scene appeared. His injuries healed instantly, and then an aura even stronger than mine exploded. But before I could react, a strange fluctuation arose between the heavens and earth. In the void, it was as if countless needles were piercing and shattering the expanding aura. The Thousand Phoenix Protector immediately became weak, but the injuries on his body had recovered. Is this the Immortal Emperor's technique? This was the first time I had seen such a strange scene. The Thousand Phoenix Protector did not offer any explanation. Just as he was preparing to fight me to the death, Yu Chan's charming voice suddenly came out. Protector, please step down. The Zhao family's 9th son's few pills are not worth you risking your life for. Understood? The Thousand Phoenix Protector left, his back hunched, but I didn't stop him. Instead, I turned around and headed straight to the 6th floor. To rob, seize the medicine, kill, and set fire. But just as I reached the 5th floor, the charming voice came again. Fellow Daoist, with such overwhelming power, are you just here for a single furnace of pills? I asked back. I only seek wealth, I do not harm life. Do you want to risk your life for Zhao family's 9th son's pills? After saying this, I used the sword controlling art to eliminate my stray thoughts and walk step by step towards the 6th floor. Yu Chan's voice turned cold. Since I have taken on the mission, it is natural that I must be responsible. And what virtues and abilities do you possess that allow you to demand that I hand them over to you immediately as soon as you barge into my place? As soon as she finished speaking, a spiritual light suddenly surged from the dark ground. A formation? I glanced at it, and my body shot forward at high speed. But what I never expected was that a golden light suddenly emerged. My body felt like it was carrying 1,000 jinn, and one of my feet sank into the ground. At the same time, the curtains in the hallway suddenly danced, rolling up into coarse needles and attacking me. But surprisingly, I allowed the needles to pierce through my body, but I was completely unharmed. Just as I was certain that I had fallen into an illusion, a gust of yin wind suddenly blew towards my abdomen. The spear in my hand moved suddenly. Then, with a clanging sound, a needle was knocked to the ground. It turned out to be an illusion inside of a real attack, and a real attack inside of an illusion. So, I asked, is this a formation? Of course, haven't you learned it? Lu Qian saw my sorry state and chuckled. A snowball is still just a snowball. Although you martial artists are strong, you focus too much on using strength to break through everything. Excessively pursuing the ultimate edge is not a good thing. Today, I will teach you a lesson. As she finished speaking, golden light surged from the ground, turning into countless sharp blades and attacking me. Chains wrapped around me, and wounds accumulated on my body. So this was the 5th of the Earth ranking? I sensed a trace of danger. Unlike He Huan, Lu Qian had a complete advantage over me in formations and illusions. I had almost no way to resist. At this moment, Lu Qian calmly said while controlling the formation, those skilled in formations borrow the power of the heavens and the earth, using a light weight to move a great force. If you want to escape, you need to use great force to break my light move, or find the birth gate in my golden fire array. But in the art of formations, are you even qualified to compete with me? But surprisingly, I calmly replied, I have been taught. This left Lu Qian stunned. He just pointed something out. Was it possible that I could immediately see through the formation? Just as he was feeling confused, I suddenly raised my hand. The name of my spear is Zhao Lai. As soon as I finished speaking, a giant dragon roared out. With the giant dragon scales rubbing past, the chains on my body broke inch by inch, and golden lights fell. A giant dragon coiled around me. The Zhao Lai spear divine form was unleashed, and the surroundings entered a boundless killing field. Lu Chan's face was full of disbelief. The highest level of spear techniques is the manifestation of form, but she had never heard of a spear master having a heaven-defying form. I walked towards her step by step with my spear. The giant dragon crushed the formation. The next moment, the power of my second level Dao foundation gushed out. The spear gave it all it had, spear after spear. It caused all techniques to dissipate. To destroy techniques is to destroy life. After a moment, the illusion completely dissipated. Yu Chen collapsed to the ground, coughed up a mouthful of blood, and cried out in shock, "You bald donkey, how long are you going to keep watching?" As soon as she said that, the monk who had been unseen flew down to the front of the door. Amitabha, Benefactor Lu, do not panic. At the same time, a giant dragon suddenly poked out of the building. The vast dragon body stretched out in the sky, overlooking the entire dragon bridge. I walked to the rooftop. I said coldly, "Your formation and illusion are no match for my Zhao Lai spear. You lost, 6th on the Earth ranking." Yu Chen clenched her delicate face. Her lips were bitten. It was simply humiliating, but the unseen monk on the side widened his eyes and sweated. "My dear Tathagata Buddha, this is actually the manifestation of a divine spear technique. The spear practitioners are the embodiment of combat power in the cultivation world. Among those in the same realm, the spear practitioner's power is the strongest." So he said through voice transmission, "Benefactor Lu, let's run." But who knew Yu Chen would reply through voice transmission, "You bald donkey, if you dare to flee in the face of the battle, I will twist your bald head off." Block him for a moment. I still have one technique, disappear. The monk transmitted back with a helpless heart. "Grandma is already manifesting a divine form. Are we going to use a Buddha's head to fight? Don't keep fighting for a moment of pride." Lu Qian gritted her teeth. "The one in the palace must have already noticed. Just hold him off for an incense stick's time. He must see who is better than the other. My family's top 10 superior dragon tiger pills will be his. He must be defeated." Unseen monk had no choice but to step forward, and said, "9th on the Earth ranking. Diamond indestructible. Monk name unrestrained. Please turn back before it is too late." Benefactor, I looked at the monk in front of me. My intuition told me that Lu Qian still had some tricks up her sleeve, and this monk was not easy to kill either. But so what? 6th and 9th on the Earth ranking. Come at me together. I spoke with a calm voice. My undisguised contempt made the monk's expression darken. He said coldly, "Although you have a divine spear form, in a life or death struggle, with all means used, you might not be able to gain an advantage." But what responded to him was my tsunami-like killing intent. I only have one spear, and I am only one person. So what if you call your Dao guardians and protectors? As soon as I finished speaking, the red dragon form let out a long roar, and the 3-Zhong dragon body suddenly grew. It turned into 4-Zhong. Unseen monk was dumbfounded. Having a form was already something. How could he break through during the battle? The one who kills you too is this Daoist. Mortal world. I took a step forward. The Immortal Emperor was for the most talented. All cultivation and power are useless. Unseen monk took 2 steps back, just with the collision of auras. He had lost his fighting spirit. Just when the great battle was about to break out, 3 myriad Dao pills suddenly flew out. Lu Qian also calmed down. She admitted defeat. Why would she risk her life for Zhao Feng's pills? But unexpectedly, I accepted the pills, but still did not stop. The dragon tiger pills must also be handed over. Lu Qian wanted to curse, but seeing that I raised my weapon, she immediately became weak. These dragon tiger pills have not been refined yet. How about I send them to you another day, fellow Daoist? It will be too late if you do not leave now. I looked back and indeed, countless Imperial guards were rushing over. I immediately left at high speed, and just when I got out of the Thousand Phoenix Pavilion, He Huan's voice immediately transmitted, "Fellow Daoist of the mortal world, the old immortal from the Imperial Palace has come out." I was shocked. It was the Dao Sovereign Emperor.